I knew better. It just about destroyed my dust collection system. So those of you guys that have been following the channel recently know we've been milling up pallet wood and generating really beautiful lumber out of it. So just the other day I was cranking out a bunch of material through the planer and I had no idea the problem I was creating. Look at this huge mess in the floor. So essentially what happened was all that material coming out of the planer ended up getting stuck in my lines, my plumbing lines that go over to the dust collector. For those of you guys new to the shop, let me give you a little lay of the land so it makes more sense. So the planer is on the north wall and it's plumbed overhead to the south end of the shop and then over to the west end of the shop, the southwest corner, which is where the dust collector is. And then the piping goes overhead and down to my dust collector. Now along the path from the planer to the dust collector, I have several offshoots that goes to the lathe and also goes to the table saw, as well as the bandsaw and my floor sweeper. So I had just ran a ton of material through the planer and then I was over here working on the table saw. I had the gates open for the table saw and the gate closed for the planer, and I noticed that I had lost suction. I knew that because a lot of the dust that I was creating from the table saw was starting to accumulate near the blade. I had my ear protection in, so I didn't realize the change in sound that had occurred. So when I recognized that I wasn't getting any suction on the table saw, I took my earphones out and I could definitely hear that the dust collector was just making a buzzing sound. What had happened was fragments coming off of the planer got stuck here and it was piling up behind it, and it was all the way up the wall. It probably stopped around here, which is about 4 feet off the ground. The blockage must have occurred while the planer was still running, but I didn't realize it. The reason those planer shavings are all throughout my plumbing is there's a fan built into the planer. It blows that stuff out. So it didn't require any suction from my dust collector to get it up there, it just couldn't get it out of the pipe. So I cleared out the obstruction from the dust collector, and what I got was these large shavings. I don't know how well you can see it, but these really aren't designed to go into the dust collector. So once I cleared that obstruction, I figured I was in good shape. But unfortunately, I still didn't have any suction on any of my hoses in the shop. So once I realized I still had a problem, I went and started to assess each of my blast gates. I opened this blast gate and turned the dust collector on and still had no suction. Well, I looked down below, and believe it or not, this pipe from the blast gate was completely full all the way to the top. So here's the mess that came from the overhead piping. Not only was that pipe obstructed, but these were as well. This entire pipe here was full of planer shavings. The table saw dust collection hosing was the same way. It was completely full all the way to the ceiling. So I had to basically take everything apart, probe all the pipes to get all of that planer shaving material out of my dust collection piping. The only good news is once I cleared all the obstructed pipes, the dust collector now works again. I still have really good suction from each of the blast gates. We still need to fix the problem though with the planer, and this is the solution. So I've had this thing in my Amazon cart for probably a year, and I just never got around to ordering it because I've been doing so much hand tool work. But planing all of these pallets really has created a ton of material going through my dust collector, so now it's time to go ahead and hook this up. So what this is a trash can cyclone lid, and it's made by Wood River. I purchased it on Amazon for $32.99 plus shipping. I'll put a link in the description if you're interested in checking that out. The way this works is you connect this side to your planer, and those planer shavings goes into this port, and it sits on top of a 31-gallon metal trash can. The other port is connected to your dust collection hosing, and it sucks up the fine dust. The idea is that this lid in the metal trash can will catch the bigger shavings that come off the planer, preventing those bigger shavings from clogging up your system. and then the fine dust can still travel to the dust collector, which is really what the dust collector is for. In other words, the dust collector is really not for the large shavings coming off the planer. It's designed to get the more fine shavings that you breathe in. I've also got a couple pipe clamps here, a adapter, and also a 90-degree piece of pipe here that we can connect the flex hose to. So the way this will work, well, the top will just fit right on top of the metal can here. This is a 31-gallon metal can I got at the local home store, and the top fits perfect. Hopefully you can see the top actually has a piece of foam that goes around the periphery that helps it create a nice seal on the trash can. So pretty much all we need to do is route the dust collector to the cyclone lid, and then the out port over to my piping to the dust collector. So that actually worked out pretty good. I didn't even have to use any new hose. All I did was cut the hose in half, and then I put one side on this side and one on the other and put the two clamps over it, and then we'll give it a try. So what I've got here is a piece of pallet wood that we can run through the planer. It's free of any nails or metal. Let's run that through the planer a few times and see how the cyclone works. I'm anxious to see how the cyclone worked. So that worked out good. You can see in the bottom of the can, all we're getting is big chips. And that's the idea behind the cyclone. So hopefully the cyclone is going to solve my problem with clogging up my dust collection system. I did get the tongue and groove router bits in the other day, so look out for the next video. We'll be putting some tongue and grooves on the pallet wood that we've been milling up so that we can then laminate together into some really nice panels. As always, if you're enjoying the projects here, be sure to leave a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. If you want to see when I post new videos, hit that notification bell. See you guys on the next video.